All right, welcome everybody. I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Tim Pandajis. Thanks for joining us on this late night webcast, an update on what's going on with our severe weather threat that is still very much in place as we head through the overnight hours. Our focus will now shift to a transition to a flash flooding threat rather than a tornado outbreak or large hail type of scenario here. Here's a look at radar, and really most of the last 12 hours have featured very quiet activity across all of the KHOU viewing area. We've had some showers, some downpours here and there, but I want to draw your attention to what's starting to kind of shape up here right along the I-10 corridor. We've got some showers becoming a little bit more consolidated there, and they are getting a little bit heavier too. It looks to be some sort of boundary that's beginning to set on up there. Also, you can take note what your eye gets drawn to what's going on off to the west. That's the actual cold front that's pushing on through the Austin area along the I-35 corridor there, and this has also been filling in over the last couple of hours. In fact, if I put it in motion here, over the last 2 hours, you can see it's really starting to come to life. And we're going to keep a very close eye on this that's developing here south of San Antonio and to the west-southwest of Victoria, because that seems to be getting its act together. And this had a few severe thunderstorm warnings on it. These look to be a little bit more robust as they lift off to the east-northeast and eventually into our general direction in the next several hours. That's why we've been saying that this threat's really going to be in the middle of the night when most of us are sleeping. So getting those warnings, those flash flood warnings, or in fact a tornado warning is going to be critical. I also want to draw your attention to what's been going on to our north and outside of our viewing area through much of the day today. I'm going to take us back the last 6 hours on radar and just play it on out here. And I want you to take note on what's going on here north through Bryan College Station. This cell that developed, it tracked for about 150 miles, had numerous tornado warnings on it, had confirmed tornadoes on the ground from several spotters and reports in the 911 dispatch centers. Lots of lightning associated with it as well. It's now lifting well to the north, but this was part of the line of supercell structure thunderstorms that developed along a dry line earlier. That dry line is starting to fall apart. Behind it, the cold front seems to be taking over the rains and will be driving the rest of the event as we go forward. So that's all driving off to the north, which is good. We're going to keep an eye on this I-35 line that's starting to develop. And just recently now it's starting to show some signs of becoming stronger. Earlier we had no lightning along these. Now we're seeing lightning flare on up. And with this type of scenario, we're not seeing individual cells. We're seeing a squall line, so that introduces the risk of more straight line winds just blowing in one direction, gusts up to 50, 60 miles per hour. We're not seeing a swirl in the atmosphere, at least with this particular part of the line. A little more discrete cells developing off to the south of San Antonio that will likely merge into one condensed line of showers and storms as we go through the overnight hours. Now, what we've been talking about a lot is the placement or the setup aloft in the jet stream, 34,000 feet up. We've got a screaming jet coming in out of the southwest at that altitude. And right overhead in the middle of the night, here we are looking at 3 a.m., the jet splits. And when you see this set up, when we've got a scenario playing out of severe weather or a very unsettled pattern, when you get that split, it creates a void aloft at this altitude, at 34,000 feet. And it needs to be replaced. That void needs to be filled. So rapidly rising air will move to fill it. Rising air will just help to sustain heavy, copious amounts of rainfall, as well as if there's any severe thunderstorms in the general vicinity, it will help to keep them going and generate them for long track scenarios. So seeing this is a little bit concerning as we head through the overnight. This will likely help play out to see the flash flooding event unfold in parts of our area. So here's the big picture. We go from Austin down to San Antonio to Laredo and Corpus Christi. You see this bottom southern portion of that line developing, heading in our general direction. That's going to be one that we're going to want to watch. So what do the models say? Here's how it looks as we start things off now. Pretty good handle on what's going on at initialization. We've got showers, some downpours across the area, kind of setting up along the 59 corridor, really, through Cleveland down to El Campo, Sugarland area. Showers and maybe even a rumble of thunder in there. Nothing strong or severe. But let's go out in time, matching things up with where we see that jet splitting overhead, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Notice we really start to see that line that right now is very narrow and condensed off to the west, expanding in coverage and becoming a little bit more intense as it starts to push its way a little bit to the east. it's a slow mover too, because if I go forward a couple of hours, let's say 2-3 hours to 5 a.m., we're not progressing very far to the east. We're right over the heart of Harris County, down into Fort Bend, Sugar Land, Katy, Conroe, Cleveland, Spring, all seeing very, very heavy rain. There could also be embedded strong storms, maybe even severe storms. So our tornado threat, although lower in the overnight, is not completely absent. Still some large hail potentially, but really it's going to be the heavy rain that overwhelms drainage basins. Now, we've been very dry. In fact, a large portion of the area is classified as some sort of level of a drought over the past couple of weeks. So the ground can handle a good amount of rainfall. But when it comes down all at once for a prolonged period of time, eventually you hit that saturation level and you start to overwhelm basins. So street flooding looks to be more of an issue here. And the timing of it right in the middle of the morning commute certainly isn't helpful. So here we are at 7 a.m. The line starts to push off to the east a little bit along the I-45 corridor and points east of there, and even farther to the east once we get towards 8, 9 o'clock. It clears our area totally, and we see rapidly improving weather. And I will tell you, after this bump of the road with these showers and storms overnight and the flash flooding threat, we are in for a long stretch of sunny, dry, and very comfortable temperature-wise weather straight through early next week. So we've got a long duration of really nice weather coming our way in the short term after we get past the next 12 hours. So our flooding potential here, the excessive rainfall outlook for overnight, we judge it on a 4-tier level. We're at a level 3, especially areas by the Woodlands, points north of there, favoring areas north of I-10 overnight into the early morning hours of Tuesday. Now, our current severe alerts that are in place, we've got a tornado watch up, 2 separate tornado watches. One that was issued earlier today that was supposed to expire at 10 o'clock was extended until 1 a.m. And one also for our northern counties, Montgomery, points north of there. That one is until 3 a.m. And this really also helps tell the story of our 2-phased storm threat. First was the tornado threat with the tornado watch that's up. Once that is allowed to expire, the flooding threat takes over, and that's up until 7 a.m. A flash flood watch up for all the areas in green. That includes Harris County, points north and northeast of there. So the flooding threat will start to become the more dominant threat as we head through that time frame. Models don't have a great handle on the amount of rain. A lot of times when you get these micro-scale little phenomena in terms of heavy rainfall and training thunderstorms, they don't handle it too well. So 2 to 4 inches in some of these areas could easily be doubled or even tripled, which is why the localized areas could see 5 to 7 inches of rain that may be possible. All right, here's what we're looking forward to once we get past tomorrow on Tuesday. Early morning storm shower threat, then it's gone, and then literally nothing else is on our horizon right through early next week. We got a long stretch of super nice weather for Saturday and Sunday, our first full week in the spring with temperatures in the upper 70s to around 80. We'll be with you all throughout the night. You can always download the KHOU 11 app to get alerts set to your phone, sending you when they are issued for where you live with GPS alerts, and you can find us online, on digital, and on air if need be through the overnight.